Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD question mark here on my channel. The longest running series on this channel, man. Still going strong today even after almost 7 years. I am coming up on my 7th year anniversary on YouTube and almost 1,000 videos to my name. Holy crap, I'm getting old, but I'm productive, putting out the videos every single day despite my personal life unraveling in a chaotic ball of mess lately. Oh my god, it's been freaking insane. But anyway, so today's video is going to be somewhat of a spiritual successor to my last one, talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, the Milwaukee cannibal and his very, very heinous crimes, and trying to get into his mind and see how he ticked, you know. And today I'm going to be covering a much more broader topic, you know, because I'm going to be talking about serial killers in general. I have already done this video before, so this is going to be a remake, you know, with better lighting, editing, and, you know, possibly information and whatnot, you know. But the first thing that I'm going to say is to lay out what exactly a serial killer is, different than, for example, a mass murderer or a spree killer or a contact killer, you know. Even though there are some similarities there are some even though there are some overlaps and similarities, they are largely different. There are some different distinctions, you know. A serial killer is essentially a person who kills 3 or more people, you know, in sequence, and the murders usually take place over a month or more, and there are significant time periods between them, you know. So it's really complex. There usually is a pattern that is established, you know. Sometimes the place where they kill, the time that they kill, you know, how they kill. So usually the reasons for serial killing are very varied. The FBI kind of, you know, puts it out as largely, you know, sometimes it's anger induced. You know, the person just has a lot of anger and they're just killing out of spite, you know. Sometimes it's for financial gain or attention seeking or the thrill of taking someone's life, you know. And the murders can be executed in such a degree as that. And, you know, sometimes there is a certain personal bias, you know, like they will target people based on their you know, demographic profile, the gender, the age, the race, you know, even the sex. Maybe they kill just men, they kill just women, they kill just children. We have seen a lot of different serial killers, you know, many examples. One of the earliest depictions was Jack the Ripper, who killed a lot of people in England, you know. I'm pretty sure all of them were women and he would always cut their throats open. Then we had later on, you know, Jeff Dahmer, who was a cannibal who killed because he was a closeted homosexual who was a bandit. He wanted to keep the victims with him, you know. Later we also had Ted Bundy, who killed a bunch of women who looked like his ex-girlfriend who had dumped him. So there was always a personal vendetta. The Green River Killer, not really sure what his deal was, but he was just a maniac. You know, there was John Wayne Gacy, who was just a pedophile and a freaking crazy sex offender who dressed up as a clown to kill boys. So, you know, there's always a reason. There's always something. That there was even the killer nurse, you know, and that, I forgot the guy's name, but he was in that movie, The Good Nurse, you know. Like, everybody was about a reason. He wanted to kill the patients in the hospital because he didn't want them to suffer, you know. He was like putting them out of their misery. It's crazy, man. Every serial killer has their own dilemma, but they also do have a lot of different patterns. So nobody can go on forever unless, of course, you're the Zodiac killer. He was never caught, but that's not the point. Usually there is a certain pattern that, you know, the police can follow and trace back to the killer and can help identify not only how these murders are being executed, but why exactly, you know, figure out the motives, you know. These patterns are also always the kind of sequences that these serial killers follows, you know, and they always leave clues. Even when they try not to, there are always clues left behind and they are eventually caught. But have you ever stopped to think about what really makes a serial killer? Have you ever thought about what really drives a person to take the life of another haphazardly? I actually have a personal theory as to how serial killers are fabricated, if I can even use this expression, you know, because nobody is born a serial killer, right? Nobody comes out of the womb stabbing people, you know, repeatedly and going on a killing spree. That's not how it works, you know. Serial killers are made. You know, they are nurtured and sort of in a way, you know, groomed in a certain way. Something happens when they're young. Sometimes it's maybe even something wrong with the household or something that they see that leaves an impression, or somehow, somewhere along the way throughout their childhood, they develop something that snaps in their head, and when they grow up, they start executing it, you know. Now, it's really hard to imagine who the most prolific serial killer has been in history, you know. That aforementioned nurse, you know, whose name is Charles Cullen, I remembered, he actually killed quite a few patients, but it's confirmed, a few were confirmed, but it's kind of sort of in a way you know, suspected that he may have killed hundreds, you know, because there's no way to track it down to him. Same thing with Ted Bundy, you know, the guy confessed to killing 30 people, but it's suspected that he killed more than that, you know. So maybe, just maybe, some of these guys who confessed to just killing a few dozen actually had at least 100 or so. We will never know. But there's something that all of these guys have in common. You might think, oh, it's because they're crazy, they go around killing people, this and that. Actually, no. It's something a little bit more ingrained in their head that maybe you never thought about. I have a personal opinion that every human being has a certain, let's call it a switch, you know, metaphorically speaking. There is a switch somewhere in our brain, you know, like a literal light switch that you can turn on and off, you know, to turn on the lights, you know, or whatever. Every single person has a switch in their brain. When that switch is on, we are completely normal. We are just total law-abiding citizens that go living our lives regularly, not doing anything bad, not doing anything too good. We're just average, you know. Sometimes we'll do a good deed, sometimes we'll make a mistake, you know, but we know the difference between right and wrong. We know the law, we obey the law, we know what's gonna happen if we break the law. So that kind of keeps us in line as a society, you know. However, when that switch is turned off, all of that goes out the window, and we can become savages. We can go feral. We can pretty much feel like it's the purge night, 12 hours of any crime being legal, and that's how serial killers are. To them, there's just, you know, all bets are off, you know. They might even know that it's wrong, but they do it anyway. It's like they have no empathy. Ted Bundy is a good example of this. He had no empathy at all for what he was doing. He did not feel remorse for his victims, you know. He would look them in the eyes as he was strangling them, as they begged for their lives. He would bludgeon these poor girls, you know, for no reason at all. He had this tumor in his brain that completely blocked off all empathy, you know. So he could switch that, he could put that switch on and off whenever he wanted to act like a normal law-abiding citizen, and then turn it off when he wanted to kill someone and execute the sickness inside of him, you know. Every single person who has ever killed somebody else has this switch, and they flipped it off. Actually, all of us do. Even you watching this video right now, you do have this metaphorical switch, and you better hope to God that you never turn it off or it goes off haphazardly, you know. Sometimes, you know, it will go off when somebody is in a moment of extreme anger and rage, and they will act impulsively and maybe even kill somebody, you know. This might happen when a man strikes a woman, or you accidentally cause an accident that leads to someone's death. That switch flips off, man. There is a very good Slipknot song that plays around with this concept called Wait and Bleed. It's actually one of the things that most inspires this line of thought of mine here, you know, because you just sit there in your little shell, you know, just waiting and bleeding, keeping all of the anger and the darkness and the rage inside of you, the hate, you know, the hate rises up, and you just, you know, you keep it in there because you know that if you let it out, that's when the killer comes out, you know. You know that if you flip that switch off and you come outside of your shell, all hell will break loose, you know, and before you know it, you just ruined your life. That is how these people work. That's how serial killers are, man. They have this switch. Some of them can even choose to turn it on or off, you know. Ted Bundy was a good example. Jeffrey Dahmer probably wasn't, you know. He was very compulsive in what he did. Maybe he even considered not doing it at times, but I think Jeffrey, because of the amount of dexterity in disgustingness of his crimes, you know, with necrophilia and cannibalism, his switch was always off. I don't think it was ever on, you know. Once it came off, he never turned it on again, you know. Maybe after he was arrested and tried, you know, maybe he turned it back on because he did seem to be saner, but it's Jeff Dahmer, man. God, oh my God. I'm getting flashbacks to that video that I did not. I'm getting sick all over again. The most common motive for serial killing is personal gratification, you know, which is why a lot of the murders involve sexual contact with the victim, you know. That's why necrophilia is involved. Ted Bundy is probably the worst example because he would not only, you know, perform sexual acts on the corpses of the women that he killed, but, you know, he would continue to do so until they literally decomposed to the point that contact was no longer possible, you know. He would literally, like, you know, engage in intercourse with the corpse until he literally couldn't, man. It was just gross, you know. He would come back and groom the bodies, you know, I think brush the hair, put makeup on, dress them, I don't know. It's like his own personal, weird, disgusting, horrible playthings, you know. And a large number of serial killers have been men over the years, you know. Way back in the day of when William Burke was active in the 1800s, there are even some drawings of him, you know. There wasn't even photography back then. I don't think there were any actual photos of him, but later Jack the Ripper came into place. So it all began way back in the day. I don't think there have been too many women serial killers except for like maybe Aileen Wuornos, you know, who was born Arlene Pittman, who there was even a movie about her in 2003 where Charlize Theron played her. You know, she was a prostitute worker, a prostitution worker, or a prostitute who killed a lot of her male clients, you know, in the 80s and 90s. So she was later executed in Florida. So I mean, besides her, I can't really think of any female serial killers, you know, not a woman who killed one person, but who went on a spree, you know, killed multiple people. So it was crazy, man. And it's very heinous, you know, if you have sexual desires towards a woman, you know, I mean, sometimes the serial killer wants to play this out and he decides to take the woman's life to act out his sexual fantasies, you know. There are so many other ways you can do this, man, you know. Have you ever heard of masturbation, you know, or maybe buy a blow-up doll or something, or watch pornography? There are so many ways that you can pleasure yourself without hurting a woman, you know. It's already bad to drug her and do it to her while she sleeps. That's rape, you know, but taking her life just so you can have a few moments of pleasure with her, you know, these guys deserve to die. They don't deserve to go to jail. They deserve to be executed, you know. And God, man, a lot of these serial killers were executed, you know. Others were killed by other means, like Jeff Dahmer in jail. But still, execution, whether it's by lethal, I think that lethal injection is a cowardly way to kill a serial killer, man. You have to put these guys in the electric chair, just like Bundy, you know. This whole lethal injection bullcrap, you know, what is this, you know? They kill like dozens of people haphazardly, indiscriminately, with no remorse, and then you tie them down to a chair and put a needle in their arm and they're dead in a few minutes. No, you have to electrocute these bastards, man, or hang them, you know. Do something that's actually going to, you know, give satisfaction to the people who lost their loved ones, you know. But whenever you flip this switch, you become a serial killer. And these people, well, fortunately are no longer around to continue committing their heinous crimes, you know, but it's really complicated. Just hate it so much, man. Talking about this is really complex for me, you know. It's really hard, but I just wanted to get this video out, you know. And I'm sorry if my videos lately aren't being very enthusiastic. It's because, guys, please try to understand, I am so burnt out. I'm so burnt out. I'm coming up on my 1,000th YouTube video, and I've been when I came back this year, I've been uploading. You guys know that I do every 100 videos I stop, and it's been a video every single day and 2 every Sunday. I cut it really close a few days, you know, waking up really early to do stuff, but I'm trying to give you guys content, you know, as much as I can, as often and frequent as I can. But it's been hard, so just bear with me, okay? One more concept vlog here for the collection, and I'm gonna try to do some more stuff towards the end here. I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. I don't really know what else I can say. I just wanted to share my personal theory, you know, that little switch that we have that gives us, you know, the difference between right and wrong. Hopefully your switches have been on all your lives, and they will continue to be until the day you die. Please don't ever let these switches come down. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about this, if you found it interesting. If you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time I upload, huh? And it's all good. Oh, look at that, my battery's low. Gotta get going. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.